Welcome to Prime Sports with me, Razak Musbao. Now, let's take you to the camp of the former president of the Ghana Football Association, Kwesi, Nyantakyi, because he has officially declared his intention to run in the upcoming by-election in the Ejisu constituency. Now, this decision follows the recent passing of the former MP, John Kuma. And according to Mr. Nyantakyi, he had reached the pinnacle of sports in Ghana, and it was time for him to use the knowledge and experience gained to benefit the people through politics. Well, he's been speaking to 3 Sports about his reasons for going for that seat in Ejisu.
From 2012 up to 2018, I instituted what was called the annual games in Ejisu, annual Easter games. And these games were played in every conceivable corner of the constituency. We had all the towns, about 45 towns. We bought jerseys, footballs, and boots for them. They played knockouts, and ultimately the finals were played in Kwaso, my place. Now, from that, people thought I wanted to be an MP, so there were representations to me, and I declined them because I didn't have time that time. So when Honorable John Kuma came as MP in 2020, we all supported him, and considering his youthful age, we thought that he would be an MP for a long time. Unfortunately, they say man proposes and God disposes. God called him at an unexpected time. So the course intensified. So I decided to consider it.
Well, he has also been speaking about the declining state of Ghana football, emphasizing that there is need for collective action to help revive the sport in the country.
Ghana football now is not in the best of shapes. If we compare the performances of the Black Stars over the period from 2008 up to this time, if we were to draw a graph, a straight line graph, there will be a straight line like this because of the semi-finals for a long time. And then the first round exits will bring it down like this. But there are other new initiatives that GFA has introduced in, let's say, women's football, in youth football, that we have to applaud them. But the ultimate, most people are judged by the performance of the senior team. The senior team is not in a good shape. And we have to appreciate that and find ways to really address it.
Now, away from that, Ghana Premier League side Dreams FC recorded a significant win in Bamako in the first leg of the CAF Confederation Cup, now in the quarter-final game against Stade Malien. Now, the game, which was played on Sunday, saw Karim Zito Man record a 2-1 win heading into the return fixture. A brace from Nyantakyi was enough for the Ghanaian side, who now need to avoid defeat in the next fixture at the Barra Sports Stadium. Now, Jerome Watry is among many sports journalists who have commended the team and expressed hope that the team will be able to advance to the next stage of the competition. And he joins me on phone for some insight into the feat that Dreams FC have achieved. Jerome, thank you so much for joining me tonight. First of all, what has been your impressions of Dreams FC in this African campaign, considering especially their pedigree even in Ghana football?
Well, I think they have accounted themselves very well. They have proven to football fans, especially in Ghana, that it is not really about big names, but about the vision you have as a football club, the plans that you put in place, and how well you are able to implement those plans. And if you are also fortunate to have a bit of money, then you can drive your plans to the point where everyone will see that indeed you are a serious football club. And I think that is what Dreams FC so far have demonstrated. And we have to commend their management, because for me, that's where it starts from. It's not just about what the players have done on the field of play with their coaches. You cannot delink that good performance they have shown right from competition from what the club has administrators put in place. The good performance of the team rests how the administrators have passion. And that's why some of us think that if other clubs would take the path Dreams have, then we should be looking forward to Ghanaian clubs getting back to Africa and performing as teams have done.
I mean, Jerome, talking about Ghanaian clubs getting to, in Africa and performing to that very level, there are those who have also raised questions about the claim by others that Ghana football is not in the best of shape. Even some have protested and called for some drastic measures to be put in place to revive, save the game. Well, some are asking that, I mean, if the game is indeed challenged, isn't the exploit of Dreams FC one that possibly negates that argument?
Well, it does, if you are looking at the overall picture. But I like to separate issues. I think we have to put the issues where they are. If you take our national team football, and for example, Black Star, there's everything wrong with the way the team has run in the last 4 to 5 years. If you take women's football, and you look at the Women's Premier League, it is clear that some good work has gone on there. If you take Black Team, you can clearly see that some good work is going on there. If you take the Black Maidens, it is also clear that it's been disastrous because they've been banned for 4, 6 years or so. So there are specific issues of problems with our football. And I wouldn't want to generalize because if I'm taking club football, for example, what Dreams FC are doing points to something positive. So I cannot say that club football is in total shambles. So yes, on the whole, you might say that Ghana football is not at where it should be. But if you are going into specific matters, specific areas of football administration in the country, there are some success stories, and I wouldn't want to put everything together and say that things are bad.
Jerome, they're just one game away from making it to the semi-finals, and some are even tipping that they just might make it all the way to the final. Help us appreciate exactly what this will mean for the progress of Ghana football and even the Ghana Premier League itself if Dreams FC are able to make it all the way to the final, because the last time a Ghanaian club did that was quite some years ago.
This is monumental. It is monumental in the sense that in about 20 years or so, we have not had any of our teams perform as we are seeing now. And that is a big achievement. If you look at the strength of Dreams FC, if you are looking at the club side, if you are looking at their fan base, if you are looking at their structure, if you are putting Dreams FC where they should be in Ghana football, you don't come any close to the things that Africa has known. That is why what they have done is big. If you put all that aside, what they have done also inures to the benefit of Ghana football, because we are looking at how CAF rank countries and their club football and the sort of the number of sports their clubs should have in CAF inter-club competition. What Dreams have done right now is going to earn Ghana a lot of points, where we'll move up the table and have or stand the chance of having more than one club or 2 clubs participating in the CAF inter-club competition. So what they have done is such a big plus to Ghana football. Now, if they are able to get to the semi-final, as a young club, it is going to be a big achievement. Already where they are is an achievement. And I believe they can only build on that. If they're able to get to the semi-final, I think they will stand a better chance of getting to the final. And once they get to the final, anything can happen. I have said that all the things they have done are as a result of their pragmatism. Because I don't think Dreams FC is a rich club. I don't think they have money. I doubt if they have the best of players in the country, But they've been able to manage themselves and their campaign in a very pragmatic way that makes it possible for them to achieve the kind of things they are achieving, So what they have done means a lot for Ghana football. The only reason it is not attracting the kind of headlines it should attract is perhaps because of their size in Ghana. But I tell you, if it were to be any of the so-called big clubs that, was in the quarterfinal or close to the semi-final of the Confederation Cup for the first time in 20 years, I'm sure we would have been singing praises to them. And we should be doing the same to Dreams FC and their managers for what they have done.
Jerome, just finally, though, you're just talking about the fact that if it had been any of the big sides, I'm sure there's some reference we made to Kotoko and or maybe Stade Malien, Stars, etc. Do you think this feat by Dreams FC is in any way an indictment on Kotoko and their inability to have, reached this far in the last 20 years, that it had to take Dreams FC to get? Do you think it's an indictment on them in any way?
The indictment lies in how they have not been able to structure themselves so as to get organized as Dreams FC is. If you look at why these teams, Hearts and Kotoko, for example, are not getting the chance to represent Ghana well in Africa, it is down to how their clubs have been run. It is not a matter of they not having the clout. Hearts and Kotoko have a bigger clout than Dreams FC. But it is basically because of how these clubs have run themselves, how they have handled their affairs. It is complete opposite to what we have seen at Dreams. How many times haven't you seen Hearts and Kotoko change management? Kotoko, for example. How many times haven't you seen that in the last 3 years? But how many times have the administrative setup of Dreams FC changed in the last 5 years? You can't even count because it's not happened. Maybe 1 or 2 changes there of the personnel. But if you take Kotoko, for example, in the last 5 years or 10 years, we've had 2, 3 different sets of management taking charge of the club. And you ask yourself, exactly what have they done with the club? Yes, Nana have tried, but what happened? I made this point earlier in the day somewhere that not until I went to Dreams FC, I had not seen any club come out with a clearly defined way they want to run their club within a certain period. At Dreams FC, and I say this with a lot of pride, at Dreams FC, I saw a 4-year development plan from 2018 to 2022, about 30-page development plan. And I don't know how they assess themselves after 2022, but if we are in 2024 and they are in the quarterfinal, very close to the semi-final of the CAF Confederation Cup competition, it should tell you that these are people who know what they are doing. They might have strategized well for it, and they are just achieving what they have planned. So the other clubs simply need to sit up and have a plan and allow the plan to work. You cannot achieve the kind of successes other clubs are achieving in Africa if you do things anyhow.
Well, Gerald, we have to leave it there.
To Africa once and see that you're going to win the competition.
Well, Jerome, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us. And that's Jerome Watchery there, football analyst and a great enthusiast of Ghana football. But just away from football, though, President of Ghana Athletics, Bar Husseini, has revealed that Ghana is now in good position to hold more athletic championship because of the facilities inherited from the African Games. Now, speaking to my colleague Nathan Alato on Sports Link, he revealed that beyond the facilities that Ghana inherited, the competition afforded the country an opportunity to train more officials who will go on to handle future competitions to be hosted in the country.
I didn't know because of this African Games, we would not have gotten a quarter of what we have now. And that is a blessing for Ghana sports in general, not only athletics. Because the infrastructure that we have gotten now, I do expect in the next 5 to 10 years, Ghana sports should be top of Africa, not only athletics.
Explain that to me.
For instance, we have this excellent running surface. One, we have very good electronic system. Two, we are able to train 110 certified, qualified officials in Ghana.
110?
10, yes. We train 110 for the last 3 months, and all of them have passed. All of them have been given certification. That's why they were able to officiate at that level in that competition.
I see.
Even the CAA never thought that Ghana could officiate at that level.
CAA is Confederation of African Athletics. Very well.
They were so excited that Ghana were able to produce that kind of officiating officials. And we started this since last 2 years. Mufta, you remember the last time?
I was there.
Yes.
I was there.
So 2 years preparing for this going for the last 2 years. Because we knew that this competition is going to be very big. And if we are not prepared, we will not sit down for the shame to come to athletics and to come to Ghana. And Ghana has a very big name outside there. So we started preparing not only our athletes, but the officials part of it. That was very crucial. That even made it possible for us to argue that these games has to be an Olympic qualifying. Indeed, it was. Given all these things, if we are going to bid for any other African championship or West African championship, it's going to be like this. After the competition, the technical director of Confederation of African Athletics, Aziz, and Lamine Fati is my good friend from Senegal. He's the CEO of CAA. Say, Bawa, thumbs up. We want to come here 2016. Bid for the African Championship 2016.
You mean 2026?
2026.
Okay.
Bid for African Championship.
That's 2 years from now.
2 years from now. We will help you to organize another.
Charlie, Mufta, you have work to do. We are appointing you as the...
In fact, Ba has already given me so much job.
Just yesterday.
Yeah.
Just yesterday, the Region 2 have taken the competition from Benin and given it to Ghana.
Great.
So we'll have West African Senior Championship in Accra in January, in June. I still have to write to the minister to seek his concern about that.
Well, he also called for improved maintenance culture to ensure that the facilities remain in the best of shape for these future competitions that Ghana will be hosting.
How do we keep this facility to the next 5-10 years so that we're able to have the fuller benefit or the fuller use of these facilities? That comes with a lot of sacrifice, with a lot of funding. If we are not able to keep it well, if we are not able to store it well, if we are not able to use it to the purpose that it was purchased for us, then we cannot blame the government or the ministry or the LOC, but we have to blame ourselves. And in athletics, we are working seriously with the University of Ghana, with Dr. Bello, how to utilize the equipment at the University of Ghana Stadium. We did a meeting last week and we did inventory. We are still doing the inventory to know exactly the equipment that we have after the competition, so that we have a very good storage at the University of Ghana, so that both the university and the Athletic Association can use the equipment effectively. But what I can add is that we need to also water the tracks maybe twice or thrice in a week. We need to water the tracks. We need to able.
Can you repeat that? I want this to be repeated.
No, we need the tracks need to be watered.
And Muftau, let's
in a week.
Muftau, let's immediately after this show ensure that this is edited. We'll play this on all our social media platforms.
And we'll have an online story.
Exactly.
Yeah,
let us water the tracks
at least twice in a week.
Because
if you don't water the tracks, it become dried and become whittled, and it gets rusted within no time. It is not only football grass that we water. Sometimes I went to Tamale about a couple of years ago. I was telling the Tamale director that we need to water the tracks, but they didn't understand why we should water running surface. Look at how scorchy the weather is. Now I'm going to see the tracks in Tamale.
But if a director, I mean, and this is where I sometimes get very, very infuriated. So if a director of sports of a whole region as crucial as the northern region doesn't understand or have the understanding of how to maintain a running track, they don't deserve to be there.
Away from that, and Rafael Varane has been speaking, and he says that he has damaged his body because of the continued impact of heading the ball. Now, defender of Varane, who plays for Manchester United, says he once finished a France World Cup game in 2014 on autopilot after playing on with concussion. He has called for greater protection and better awareness of the issue. Now, Varane's side, France, 1-0 quarter-final defeat to Germany at the 2014 World Cup, and the Champions League last 16 March, with his former club Real Madrid against Manchester City in 2020, are examples when he played despite being concussed. Now, the centre-back says he put himself at risk by playing against Germany in 2014, having been hit on the head in the last 16 March against Nigeria a few days before. Now, new guidelines issued in July 2021 said professional footballers in England should be limited to 10 higher force headers per week in training from the 2021-22 season, and permanent concussion substitutes were introduced in the Premier League in 2021. In fact, last month, a group of 17 former players and families began legal action against several of the game's governing bodies, claiming negligence and a breach of duty of care towards ex-players. Well, that's all we've got for you on Prime Sports tonight with me, Razak Musabah. Thank you so much for being part of it. Up next is Freedom Express.